Yo, what's up, guys? Anime Wolfie here, back with another cartoon creepypasta. In this cartoon creepypasta, as you can guess by the picture right here, it's gonna be a Blue's Clues creepypasta, and then one called Blue's Clues Backstory. I have not read through this, but I got a good feeling in my heart that it's gonna be good. So, you guys enjoy these types of videos, let me know in the comments below, and also let me know what else you guys want to see in my next video, and I'll be sure to do that for you guys. So, with that being said, let's get on with this video right here. Nostalgia. Easily one of the best feelings in the world, right? Well, yes and no. Nostalgia is such a bittersweet feeling. It consumes you with an instant happiness that once was, yet fills you with sadness at the fact that those times are over forever. It can even get you a jolt of hate for the way things turned out in life. For me, Blue's Clues. It was about as nostalgic as it gets. I remember sitting in a room in front of the television, screaming a clue. It almost became a borderline ritual. But if you were to ask me how, I'm sure I'm not the only one that practices Blue's Clues worshiping as a child. I always loved Steve. His signature green stripes are always a comfort to see. After the day having your toys stolen and your sandcastles crushed, if only the problems today were as simple as yours. The way he would always greet me personally, well, he said, "You." But when you're 5, that's how most people address you. You know, before we go into the identify crisis of being a teenager, being such an avid fan of as a kid, I would feel terrible if I just let my phrase pass me by. I probably watched Blue's Clues today, despite my age being over 3 years old, which is printed on my old Blue's Clues toys and puzzles. How time does fly. You can imagine my excitement when I had the opportunity to meet with some of the workers of the show. My mom's always had a strong connection to the industries. Being a writer herself, when she heard she had a possible job opportunity working in children's TV shows, she instantly thought of me. Now, let's just say I'm not very mature when it comes to my taste in television. I like to indulge the feelings of nostalgia a bit more than an average person. Anyway, my mom eventually learned that she wasn't used to be the part of the children writing staff, which canceled any type of plans for me to meet with the writers. As a result, I was pretty bummed. I had been marking down the days in my head for what felt like an eternity. Now I had my dreams dashed. Then again, that sort of thing usually happens to me, so it was nothing out of the ordinary. However, I did receive a complimentary email and replaced the visit. Undoubtedly, my mother had a hand in this. That one thing about my mom, She's not willing to let her baby have his dreams crushed without doing something about it. Normally, I hit around about her minding her own business, but I was actually glad she stuck her nose where it doesn't belong this time. The email was basically just one saying how sorry was that I would not be able to visit after all, and how they were sorry that my mother wouldn't be contributing any part of their project. I shrugged off most of that, not really believing that anyone was sorry. I mean, I'm sure they must have felt bad, but was almost positive this was one of those things that receptionists sent out to ease the blow of the situation. As I continued to read, I found one particularly interesting part of the email. I can't really remember too much of the actual conversation, but I was offered a chance to have a one-on-one conversation with one of the producers of Blue's Clues, Angelina Samoro, via email. The conversation was pretty slow, and there was a long waiting period between the email responses. The time total we spent talking roughly added up to about a month. At least that's what I figured, where it was actually the actual time span was probably over a year due to the writing period and gray areas of conversation. Over the year of the waiting period and gray areas of conversation, my fault. As I become further involved in the conversation, I ask the question that a lot of people would wonder about their favorite shows, especially their favorite nostalgic shows. What's your inspiration? There was another stretch of waiting. Each day was almost agonizingly long, as my mind was bombarded with possibilities. Could Blue have been based on the personal pet pal? Why was Steve chosen even though he was just a skateboarding rebel before becoming hired? Those were just a few thoughts running through my mind. One morning, I braced myself for another disappointment. I checked my email again, my eyes lit up, and I, pardon my language, freaked the hell out for the solid 5 minutes. When I noticed the actual email from the producers, I opened up and the grin on my face resembled a creature from the Black Lagoon. Here's what I discovered when I opened up the letter. There was a little reluctance at the beginning of the email, but there was probably just from jitters of not wanting to indulge too much information. Trust me, when you're in business like this, you learn that telling too much is a big no-no. However, after getting the okay from higher authorities that were clear to tell me that the inspiration of the original run of Blue's Clues, the Blue's Clues that predated Joe, Blue's Room, and and many other not-so-smashing new features. I can't post the exact content of the email as they are classified as between myself and the producers. I can, however, leak the story of my own words. At least I have been to my friends. I mean, come on. I got as close as this sounded dreams as possible. I can't just bite my tongue about that. So here's the story written in my own words. Brace yourself. You're about to enter the world of a very touching story about one of the most well-known children's TV shows of all times. If you don't count the seemingly never-ending Sesame Street. During the planning stage of Blue's Clues, which was originally titled as Blueprints, the producers were determined to create a show that was new and exciting. Something that would really pull children in to get them involved in the characters. They did this by researching about children's development and viewing habits of young children. The test that had also been performed over the then 30 years span-off of Sesame Street. They took these habits and completely flipped on its head, which led to the seemingly overnight phenomenon phenomena. I'm just gonna pronounce it as phenomenon. I don't know. Sorry guys. As they began getting ready, discussing characters, working out details, reworking things that didn't sit well, and roping the cast of the crew, the team of producers as they begin getting ready, wait a minute, I already read that, sorry guys, I lost my place. A very special place in the mind of the inspiration of the character of Steve. Yes, I know, a child was an inspiration of an adult character. To simply answer to your question, yes. While each character was impacted in some way by the habits of the children and even the habits of parents, Steve was based on a child in particular. They don't just base the characters upon the traits of a child, but an actual child. You see, as they were doing their research, they got to sit a group of children around the television. They had a variety of children view previews of what was then blueprints to get the rough estimate of what every type of children would respond to, no matter what their learning abilities were. Some of the children were physically handicapped, others mentally so. Some of the children were just your ordinary children that went to preschool. Others were sick with a wide range of illness. You get the picture. One of the children in the group had been sick with rhabdomyosarcoma, Oh my sarcom. I don't know how to say that, guys. Anyway, a tumor that appears in the cell of the muscles. If you know how to say that, guys, let me know. And can be found in any part of the body. Since he's an infant, he stood out of the team, and he seemed to be one of those more responsive children. In the video, despite his illness, he also seemed a little advanced rate of intelligence. Not a genius or something. You read about in sci-fi comics, but he was definitely ahead of the rest of the group. The team liked to test the show with many other groups, but the boy always stood out of their minds. One day, as the show production began to slow, they were still lost in the proper name, had not been developed with the host's signature striped shirt. Hadn't given the host to define name, and they didn't really do much with the lively inanimate objects we all known from the 90s. They received a letter from the boy. Again, I can't say the exact words of the letter, not only because the letter is confidential, but because I only provide with the gist of the letter myself. Basically, the boy has scribbled out a short letter in crayon and had many misspelled words, but they said that mine were only to figure out what he meant. Mostly because the boy's mother had attached the version of the letter of her writing without her son knowing, and it said something along the line like this: "Thank you for letting me visit. The shop was good, and I liked it. And I liked it very much. I wish I could have come and played with you again." In the mother version of the letter, she had requested that the team come to visit her son, whose illness had landed him in a children's hospital shortly after he wrote his version of the letter. The team read the letter, and heavy hearts had decided to pay the boy a visit. Of course, most of the team stayed behind and continued to working on the show, unable to have the time to visit in person. However, Angelina managed to let Tracy and Todd, the other two head producers, to keep charge of the studio while she recited herself to visit. She had kept in contact with the boy's mother via phone calls, having received the woman's number at the end of her letter that requested the visit. About a night or so before, Angelina was making a visit, and she got an urgent call from the woman saying that the boy had been placed in a medical-induced coma when his illness began to spread and cause organ failure. However, despite the panic, the woman refused to cancel the visit, knowing that May had never seen her son dying, wished to see the team once again. So Angelina decided to continue her way to the hospital in days ahead. When she arrived there with a patient she was looking for was said to still be in a coma. He had a few bad spells, but was stable enough to even brief visit. The boy's mother and Angelina talked for a short time before entering the boy's room. Angelina has said that this visit was so long ago, but she still remembered one thing about the boy. Well, the boy's hospital bag, rather, it was striped with two shades of green, one light, one dark. And she asked where he had gotten such a unique bag from the mother, or a unique bag from. His mother said that it was a gift from a relative who enjoyed sewing. Her son had picked out the colors. He went through a phase where he wanted everything to be green or have stripes. His mother even made a joke about how it had only time to ever get to know him to really. His mother even made a joke about how it was the only time she could ever get him to eat his greens. Angela, my bad, not Angelina. Angela made a mental note for this, as an idea hatched into her mind, and she said that it was one of those times that everyone's dreams of when searching for inspirations. As she looked closer, she noticed the toy artwork sitting next to the comatose boy, obviously had sewn with dark patches of green fabric. Curious, she asked about it. The toy's name was Steve. The mother said something about how the name stemmed from the book, and she used to read to her son at bedtime. The Steve character in the book had always been her son's favorite, but it was expected that his favorite toy would gain the same name. After spending some time talking to, or at rather, the boy, Angela and the boy's mother exited the room. Since she was getting ready to leave, the mother decided to take the time to thank Angela for the visit and apologize for any inconvenience that had caused. It said that her son never really made any friends, as his illness always had him in the hospital, and he never really got to know other children at the hospital due to the insensitive treatments. Any children at the hospital due to intensive treatments and exams. Angelina told me that if a woman knew at the time how much her son impacted the show, she probably had been thrilled to feel no need to apologize. The email had stopped there, since there was the producer were busy people with a lot of projects weighing in their hands. However, I was promised another email as soon as the hustle and bustle and drawn close. After another long wait for the 3 to 4 months, another email popped in my inbox, and I was so much anticipation that I even dropped working on school projects to read it. Still managed to get an 85 on that project though, not too shabby if you ask me. While the beginning of the email left me feeling sad and informed that the young boy had passed away soon after Blue's Clues premiered in September of 1996, I still felt a sense of happiness for it. After having explanations, I couldn't help it. I was happy to see that despite his tragic passing, the boy's soul still lingers in the history, being portrayed by one of the greatest kids shows out there. Now, even all those years, when I watched Blue's Clues, I smiled when Steve came on the screen. Not only because of the nostalgia, but because of the innocence behind it. Because of the warmth that it brings to me. Knowing that the child's wish was guaranteed and knowing the comfort of something as simple as a children's TV show can bring to a family that had tragic experience. Although I'm not sure about anything else or any other show, my mom moved on to working on her own project and hadn't been dabbled too much into children's shows. Obviously, I no longer keep contact with the producers and the crew of Blue's Clues. Since the time I promised had run out. Plus, they're busy people. So am I nowadays. What with having grown up and all. In conclusion, it was a great experience and an amazing honor to be able to come up close to knowing the background was just one of the many shows I loved as a kid. I ended up following my mother's footsteps, aspiring to write for television. I'm actually wanting to work in children's television, specifically, so who knows, maybe I'll end up getting the inside scoop of some other great shows, and I promise if I do, I'll keep in touch. If I'm allowed, that is. This business is more hush hush than you think. I just hope a chatterbox like myself can keep my mouth shut. But I hope you guys enjoyed that cartoon, like, backstory of the show. Maybe you guys have, let me know in the comments below, and also let me know what else you guys want to see in my next video. And yeah, subscribe to my channel, leave a like and comment. Anyway, this is the Anime Wolfie, and peace out.